Hey there, fellow explorers and young dreamers. It's me, Ducky Quackers, and I am absolutely thrilled to welcome you to this highly official, 100% true explainer of my very own mission logbook. Yep, we are going to explore the single greatest adventure of my life, my wild quest to reach the moon. I put this story together to show you exactly how it all went down, step by waddling step. So, fluff up those feathers, get super comfortable, and let's get ready for takeoff.
Okay, let's just quickly peek at my captain's log for today's explainer. We've got 4 main chapters. Number 1, my big moon dream. Number 2, silly flying mistakes. Number 3, the hot air balloon. And finally, number 4, the best part of dreaming. Hang on to your hats because it's going to be a really bumpy ride.
All right, Chapter 1, my big moon dream. Every single night from my bright little pond, I'd stare up at that glowing round moon and just decided I'm gonna fly there, even when all the other ducks laughed at me.
Now, every great explorer needs supplies, right? So I carefully packed up my tiny mission backpack. I brought 3 delicious sandwiches, a banana for that extra energy, and my swimming goggles, just in case space turned out to be wet. Oh, and 1 rubber chicken. Why rubber chicken? Honestly, nobody knew, but it just felt absolutely crucial. Operation Moonduck had officially begun.
So, as I marched bravely through the forest, I actually ran into my good friend, Sammy the squirrel. Sammy took one look at my backpack and asked where in the world I was going. When I told him, the moon, he just blinked at me and started asking these incredibly silly questions. He literally asked, "Do you have a rocket?" I said no. "Wings?" "Well, yes. Strong wings?" I had to say no to that one. Sammy just scratched his furry little head and said, "Good luck." He clearly didn't understand the power of a duck with a plan.
Moving right along to Chapter 2, 3 silly flying mistakes. Because as we learn in this explainer, good science takes a lot of practice.
Okay, attempt number 1. I waddled right out of the forest and stumbled upon a birthday party. And what do birthday parties always have? Balloons! I thought to myself, well, balloons go up. I want to go up. It's perfect. So I very cleverly tied exactly 50 balloons to my tiny backpack. Sure enough, my little orange feet lifted right off the grass, and slowly, very slowly, I began floating into the air. The ducks down below looked totally mind-blown. I was shouting, I knew it! I was really doing it!
But then, pop, 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 several of the balloons burst. Suddenly, I was definitely not floating gracefully anymore. I spun around in the air like a totally crazy flying potato. I was yelling woo at the top of my lungs as I tumbled right out of the sky and crashed headfirst into a giant haystack. I was completely buried. Actually, scratch that. The only things sticking out of the hay were my 2 little orange feet. The farmer walked over, took one look at my feet, and just said, "Interesting. I've never seen a duck plant before." I wiggled my way out of the hay, dusted off my feathers, and declared, attempt number 1 failed. But hey, true explorers never give up.
So attempt number 2. The very next day, I built these giant cardboard wings. They were so enormous, I literally had to squeeze and wiggle for 10 whole minutes just to get out my front door. I hiked up a big hill, yelled, "Today I fly," and jumped. For one glorious, amazing second, I felt like a majestic eagle. But then this huge gust of wind caught my cardboard wings and blew me completely backward. Splash! Right back into the pond. A fish swam up to me, stared right into my eyes, and deadpanned, "Nice entrance." Attempt number 2 failed.
Attempt number 3. Now this one was an absolutely ridiculous giant catapult made out of sticks and rope. Sammy the squirrel and Freddy the frog helped me pull the whole thing back. I climbed in, they let go, and twang, I shot right through the air. I flew over the pond, over the forest, right through a giant floating soap bubble, and crash-landed directly into a wagon full of bouncy watermelons. I mean, watermelons were rolling absolutely everywhere. One even ended up on a roof. I crawled out, super dizzy, but honestly kind of happy, and wrote in my logbook, attempt number 3, very exciting.
I tried so incredibly hard over the next few weeks. Week 1, I tried flying with kite wings. Week 2, I built a giant spring-loaded pogo stick. By week 3, I was completely out of good ideas, so I literally tried standing on top of a cow just to get a head start. Let me tell you, that cow did absolutely not appreciate being used as a launch pad. But I just kept trying, testing, and learning. Which brings us to Chapter 3, the ultimate hot air balloon. I found this amazing book all about flying machines, and it gave me my greatest idea yet.
I got right to work following a very strict construction process. Step 1, collect lots of fabric and a perfect little basket. Step 2, borrow some strong rope. Step 3, maybe accidentally borrow some laundry hanging on a clothesline. Hey, a duck's gotta do what a duck's gotta do, right? After days of really hard work, the entire town gathered around to watch as my magnificent balloon was finally complete.
I climbed into the basket and the balloon slowly started to rise, higher and higher. The difference in perspective was just mind-blowing. Down on the ground, the trees always look so huge, but from up in the sky, to put that into perspective, they literally look like tiny little pieces of broccoli, and the houses looked like little toy blocks. Soon, I actually reached the clouds. They looked so soft and fluffy, like giant marshmallows. But, quick highly scientific warning for you young dreamers out there, do not try to sit on a cloud. I tried and I fell right through. It's a really good thing clouds aren't made of pudding.
Finally, Chapter 4, the best part of dreaming. Because as night fell and the moon glowed bright, I realized just how impossibly far away it truly was.
I'm not gonna lie, I felt a little sad, thinking maybe I would never actually reach it. But then, I remembered what my good friend Freddy the Frog had told me earlier. He said, you should do things because they make you happy. And it hit me like a ton of bricks. Flying itself is what made me happy. The wild catapult, the dizzy balloon rides. The act of trying my absolute best is what brought me joy, not just reaching the destination.
Right then, I heard a super loud quack from way down below. I peeked over the edge of my little basket, and there they were, my ultimate cheer squad. Sammy the squirrel, Freddy the frog, all the other ducks, the fish in the pond, and yes, believe it or not, even that grumpy cow. They were all looking up, cheering for me, yelling, "Go, Ducky, we believe in you." My little duck heart felt so full.
And then, just as I was having this deeply beautiful moment, whoosh, a massive gust of wind caught my balloon and spun it round and round and round. I was so dizzy. And hey, remember that mysterious rubber chicken I packed in my backpack? Well, it flew right out of my bag and went totally soaring into the night sky. A flock of geese flying past saw this chicken zoom by and laughed so hard they almost fell out of the sky themselves. It was the great rubber chicken escape.
Eventually, my dizzy balloon drifted safely back down to the pond. And I walked away with the most important lesson from this whole logbook. Big dreams are wonderful, they really are, but the friends and the crazy adventures you make along the way are even more special. I might not have reached the moon, but I had the greatest adventure of my life. I learned all about perseverance, I built some truly amazing things, and most importantly, I learned just how much my friends loved and supported me.
When I safely landed, we threw a huge celebration. We had music, dancing, sandwiches, and way too many watermelons. Sammy came over and asked me, "So what now?" I looked up at the moon, then back at all my wonderful friends, and I told them I think I'll just stay here at the pond for a bit. But then I playfully added, well, maybe tomorrow I'll try flying to Mars. They all groaned, "Not again!" and we just laughed the whole night away. So my fellow young dreamers, I'll leave you with this. Reaching for the moon gave me the absolute best friends and adventures ever. So what big, impossible, totally wacky dream are you going to start working on tomorrow?